When we think of self-esteem, it has to do with what others think of us, doesn't it? Well, yes, it does. To some degree, it always will. But if it is to do with measuring yourself with where you are in life compared to others, yes, there is weight to that. After all, we live in a world with others, in a world of natural selection. But if you are dependent on others for your self-esteem, that is a problem. I say again, if you depend on what others think of you, this is where you will always be trapped. And this is where you have to escape. When I was in school, I remember my self-esteem was average, personally. It was not much of an issue as far as feeling less self-esteem, but I also didn't feel an exceptionally good self-esteem. It was normal, but I didn't feel the pressure from others about what they thought of me, how they judged me. I see it does play on the minds of a lot of people, what others think of them, what others feel about them, what others say about them. Well, I realized later in life that I was quite fortunate that it wasn't playing on my mind like that when I was young. And because it wasn't playing on my mind like that, what it helped me escape from, dependence on what others thought. One becomes in that mode when you don't depend on others, like a free bird. You escape the cage. You have seen what others were compared to you, but you enter a world of billions of people, like a bird out in the sky. And you take control of who you want to become. When you are not dependent on what others think of you, and you look inside, you change to another mode. And this is what you must do. If you are caught in the cycle of depending what others think of you, break from that cycle. Instead of turning your attention towards them, turn your attention towards yourself and dive deep. Explore and look at what are your strengths. What are the special things in yourself? What are the special qualities, your interests, your curiosities, your dreams, your pursuits? What in you wants to become amazing? In what areas you want to become amazing? To feel amazing, to enrich yourself, to become the best that you can be, not the best amongst others. This is true freedom. No one is bearing down on you. You are no longer in a race. There is no one who's going to overtake you. Put that to the side. It so happened that when I left school, I went far away to a place where all the people I went to school with were not around me. All the people that I could compare myself to were not around me. It was many years after which I reconnected with many of them. But what was going on in those years? I found this freedom of making out of myself what I wanted to make of myself. And I grew and I grew and I grew in areas of interest to me. Because they were my interests, my passions, things I wanted to do. It was extremely fulfilling, addictive. So the journey became not work. It was not work. It was pleasure. It was fulfillment. And when it's like that, you go deeper and deeper. You develop more and more. You become better and better at that. No end in sight. And the journey goes on today as well. But what was interesting is that when I reconnected with people I grew up with, went to school with, I came back to compare myself. And I realized that those whom I thought were impressive, more better than me, higher than my caliber, they were inspiring, they were admired, they were interesting, they were wise or funny or handsome, whatever things that came to my mind like that. Many of them were no longer where they seemed to me then. I noticed that in areas that I pursued, I kept going on in, kept learning in, I had excelled. I had moved further from them. And I realized the ones that didn't feel ahead of me in those areas anymore, they were no longer pursuing those areas, or they were not really their passion. They were not really growing in those areas. A whole new realization emerged that I wasn't in a dependency trap with them. They were not around me. They were not in my mind when I was building myself in life. So a bird keeps flying higher and higher and higher, not looking who's ahead, who's behind, who's on the left, who's on the right, just flies higher and higher and higher. That bird, at one point, will look around and see that many birds are below it and few above it. There will always be someone above. And that is a place where, when you revisit your self-esteem, you find it in a good place, because you believe in yourself by proving yourself to yourself. People will see this. They will notice this. They will notice your qualities. They will notice your growth. They will look up to you. They will find you interesting. This is the result of nurturing yourself. If you are competing with others, you are dependent on others for your self-esteem. It is like being in a race with 10 people. You may come first, and you will be satisfied with that. You may feel great about that. When you go out in the world, it's not going to be those 10 people against whom you were the best or came first. It will be the rest of the world. You may find yourself wanting, lacking. What will happen to your self-esteem then? But if you are not dependent on anyone for your self-esteem, break free from that. Be the best you can be in what you love. This could be fitness. This could be your looks. This could be your culture, your style, your elegance, your mind, your language, your eloquence, whatever different areas that you want to take on and aim for excellence, regardless of anyone. Aim for excellence. Your self-esteem issues will dissolve. Your self-esteem will soar. You will believe in yourself so strongly. Your confidence will reflect that. And people will look up to you. Then it will be a time for humility, not of arrogance. Then it will be a time when you can help others and teach others. When your self-esteem is high, there are other things to look out for in yourself. It can be an Achilles heel too. But if you depend on anyone for your self-esteem, break free.